when we met, I see this guy, the big beard, the tattoos, says he's from Siberia. I'm like, oh, I don't know. This is going to be interesting. And then we share a coconut. We have an amazing chat. I'm like, this guy's a teddy bear. He's not the big Siberian scary bear. He's a teddy bear on the inside, you know?
Yeah. What amount of money do I need? I do not need more. When I meet a possibility to make more money, I'm making more time for myself. So I'm constantly decreasing the time that I'm working. So right now I'm working 5 to 6 hours on a working day, but then I will work less and less and less. Because the money, you have a number, it's easy to measure, and it's so easy to exchange your life on a game to get more and more numbers. But will they matter at the end of the day?
You said the other day you're from Siberia, and I know that's like a giant part of Russia, right?
Yeah.
And it was like somewhat northern, kind of middle.
Let's say this is the the population of the Siberia mostly tends to the south border.
Yeah.
So I'm not from the south border. That counts as the northern part of the Siberia, but this is not the northern in geographic. This is the middle one.
Sure.
But after that, there is nothing. Except the forests and like wild.
So you're like the last town before it's
not the last
remote.
time. I'm from the Irkutsk. This is the small city, and I'm a little bit northern the Irkutsk, like from the northern part, and like that's the city that I was born. It's near the Baikal, the big lake, and like there are a lot of wildlife, and it's like the not the northern part, let's call it the middle of the Siberia.
And so I'm from the US, right? When I hear Siberia, I feel like it's one of those places where when I hear the term, I have a lot of images in my mind, and like things I think I know, but I also know nothing about it. Like I just feel like what I know is it's very harsh conditions, and I don't know how far north you have to go. It's like super, super cold, lots of wildlife. But I don't know if that's where you are or more north. Like, can you paint a little bit more of a picture of what it's like to grow up there and everything?
It's a typical stereotype. For example, the Irkutsk is not a small city. It's about like 400 Selvens.
Okay.
It's not a big one. Also, that's the... Okay, it's a very hot summer. Very hot in our terms. It's not that hot as in Bali. Like about 25, 30 degrees Celsius. Sorry, I do not know how to translate it to foreign days.
I just know 28 is 82. So
okay,
somewhere in that range.
Somewhere there. But the problem there, it's a really long winter that starts from the October and that ends at the beginning of the May. So all the time there will be a snow. Like in winter, like you will get 2 weeks of minus 40. Minus 45, but the majority of the time will be more or less doable, more or less comfortable. So, for example, we count the temperature below minus 20 degrees. It's something that is normal. So, for example, the kids are out there for all the day on the street. They will play. They will, do the kids stuff.
And you said lots of like wildlife. Is it? You said near forests and stuff as well. Is there
yeah, we will live in a district that is really nearby to the forest, but it's not that. For example, right here you can meet monkeys like every day. Yeah. You will meet bears for sure, but they are not living on the street, and they're not aggressive. And most of the time of the year they are sleeping. Because like the winter is long and they are sleeping for a long time. And the short period of time they have to eat and to get fat, they are not interested in you at all. Like there are some. So, and it's not like when you're living in Siberia, the wildlife, it's not that wide mat or something like that. Because for example, you can go to the forest for all the day and you wouldn't meet anybody. Like I mean, in terms of the animal, maybe like a squirrel or something else, snake. maybe, but not the bear or the wolf or the deer or like elk or anybody else. So you can meet there, but it's not that. You need to find them. You need to to be patient about that. So you're not living like nearby to the bear or to the great elk or something like that. No.
Okay. And how about culturally? Like, I'm sure Russia's a giant, giant country.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure culture, or I would assume, like the different regions are quite different. I would think Siberia is quite different from, Moscow and other parts of Russia. Like, how is the Siberian culture maybe a little bit different?
Okay. So there are several things that we need to consider when we're talking about the culture difference. So first of all, like for 80 years, there was a Soviet Union and all the culture was Soviet one. So the kindergarten in the Irkutsk will be the same as in Moscow. The cartons will be the same. All around will be almost this. Even the buildings, we have a typical project of the building that will be built all over the 5 of them, and back then you can imagine that all the, for example, sleeping districts, we call them like that, they will be the same, and even the playground on the street will be the same in Moscow and Irkutsk. So the majority of the contexts will be the same. However, there are several things that will be different. So, for example, we have a wildlife, we have a Baikal, we have a lot of fish, we have a lot of we have the small seals on the Baikal, for example.
Seals.
Yeah, that's that. I don't know how to say that in English. That they are smaller than the seal.
Like the otter or something, maybe.
No, otter. It's a little bit bigger than otter.
Okay.
So it's in between, and they're wide mat. So this is the first thing, and then we have a lot of indigenous. Let's call it tribes there. Mm-hmm. So there are Buryats. They have the different religion. They're Buddhist.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. They're really hard-made Buddhist with the temples, and you will find. So they have a different culture, and they influence on Irkutsk greatly.
Okay.
Their capital on the other side of the Baikal, Ulan-Ude. And the food will be different because of they have their own cuisine, and it's really interesting. Then there are a lot of small tribes like Chukcha, Ivenki, all the others. They have their own culture. They have they're far to the north, and they have a culture that will be similar to indigenous people on Alaska.
Okay.
They're more or less relative. They speak the same language. And they back then, maybe 500 years ago, there was, I don't know, I'm not that good at the history, but they have some way to travel from the Siberia to the Alaska. So they will influence, and there will be some patterns of the paintings, for example, on the cuisine, on all that. But that's called 15-20%. All the other will be the same.
Okay. What do you feel like is the most Siberian thing about you?
The most Siberian? We have several words that we're using only in Siberia, and you can distinguish the Siberian from non-Siberian by using that words, and you can understand that this person is from the Siberia, from your part of the region. And then you have several dishes that are not met in any other, because, for example, when I will tell you that I'm fond of omul, this is the special fish from that region. You can't find it in any other place. Other than that, I have a lot of wildlife in my childhood because my grandparents, they're geologists, and they was discovering my granddad. Yeah, can I say it like that? He's the person who have found a lot of diamond tubes for Alrosa, for the beers, and he's the one who invented the theory how to find them by the mathematics, So, and one of the biggest part of his job is to go to the north, like in the wildlife, and to collect the stones. Like you take the stone then you go 1 kilometer, collect another stone. Then you go another 1 kilometer, find the stone, take it. Like not just any stone, but there are some rules to do that. And that may be the most Siberian part of me, because like all my childhood, I was in somewhere in the middle of nowhere on the northern part, and I was spending like days on a hike to collect
these interesting stones or whatever.
They're not really interesting. You are going with a backpack, a lot of mosquitoes around you. You are in the special hat that covers you. Like you ought to be covered, because on the northern part of the summer, there are a lot of mosquitoes. Like,
okay, I've heard that they're like pretty big and just terrible, right?
They are big, terrible. And like when you're going and you can see the other human is going like maybe 50 meters from you, there will be a cloud around him.
Oh my gosh.
So this is really terrible. And it's hot.
Okay.
So when you imagine Siberia at the summer, it's like you are sweating.
Yeah.
But when I was a child, I hate this stuff. Like I literally hate it. But then, like with the time, like right now, I'm thinking, oh, that will be so good to go like somewhere for a couple of weeks on a hike, just with the purpose of collecting stones. That's so good.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so you've been outside of Russia now for a while, right? You said you lived in Siberia for, was it 25 something years?
Yeah, 25
to
years.
Moscow, and then left Russia?
I moved to the St. Petersburg.
Okay, St. Petersburg.
So when you're living in Russia, there are 3 options to move somewhere further. This is Moscow. Obviously, the Moscow is the place where all the money of the country lives. But the Moscow is a little bit harsh. It's like a lot of tensions, a lot of anxiety. Like it's the huge megapolis, like the big one. You have to spend like hours on the transportation. Then St. Petersburg. This is the cultural capital. So all the theaters, all this stuff will be there. And the third option is Sochi.
Sochi, okay.
Yeah, this is when you would like to improve your lifestyle and get the sea, that will be the Sochi. So I choose the cultural capital, and I was living there for another 10 years.
Okay.
And then I move out of Russia.
So back in 2021, when I started my nomad journey, I spent the first couple months in Europe, and then I was needing to leave like the Schengen zone because I was going to come back, right? You only have the 90 days out of 180. And out of the couple of the spots I was looking at, St. Petersburg was one I was potentially looking at, because for US citizens at that time going to Russia, like it's more difficult with the visa, but I believe St. Petersburg, like you could go to one of the neighboring countries, take the boat over, and do that. And it looks gorgeous. It looks like a really, really cool city.
It is, and it's in the heritage of all the nations, just because in UNESCO, it's really beautiful. Because it was built from the scratch, and like not too many cities can be built from the scratch like 200 or 300 years ago. So, and because of that, it takes everything from that time. And let's say you're walking and feeling like you're walking literally on the street of the Dostoevsky and all the other like Russian famous writers. And you can go to the flat where Dostoevsky have lived, and it's the museum there. Then you can go to the block or Pushkin or any, and like not too many. They're not that famous around the world as Dostoevsky or Tolstoy, for example. But you can go there and you can literally see the same. That you can have the same view as them, and that's the feeling that you're inside the history. That's perfectly aligned with the St. Petersburg, and it's really great about that.
I would love to go. I would love to go at some point. I think explore a lot of Russia. I don't know if I'll be able to make the to somewhere in Siberia, swatting all the mosquitoes. I might have to have my protector there, but it'll be interesting.
You can go to the Baikal. It will be more or less suitable. That there will be less mosquitoes for sure.
Okay. Yeah, you told me you. So when did you decide to leave Russia, and like what was the decision kind of behind that?
Again, like I already told you a little bit about my childhood. The second I was reading like a lot of books from the favorite travelers like Turki Erdal or Miklucha Maklai, all the others, and I was trying to read all the memories that I can get. And before that time, I do not have any possibility to travel like on a long time. I was traveling a lot before, like every holiday I was going somewhere, to the US, to the Europe, to the Asia. So I have visited a lot of countries, but that was a really short trips, like 2 weeks, and then you need to go back to your like usual
Normal life.
Normal life, yeah. And after that, like I have my own business for a long time, and it was a big one, nasty one. Like I was totally overwhelmed. Like I was, the living was really hard. The things wasn't that great with the business, and because of that, I have an offer from my competitors, and they offer me to sell it.
Okay.
The evaluation wasn't that good, but still it was like more or less fine, and I can finish with that. So I have sold it, and then I find myself that I'm sitting. Also at that point of time I have a divorce, the really hard one. So I'm free. I have no job, I have no nothing, and I have a little bit of money. And I decided to travel, like to go out. And then this is something that from that time never stops. And at the same time, when I was selling the business, I have started my consultancy.
Okay.
So it was a parallel a little bit. So I was thinking like what I'm going to do after I will finish the business. And that's like in the 2 or 3 months, I have built the stable workflow plus the stable like travel. And I have like, I always wanted to travel, not like on a short time to get like, you are landing somewhere. For example, you are landing to the Bali, and then you're going to Ubud, to a monkey forest, then you're going to waterfall, then you're going to purifying and all of this stuff, and then you're surfing, and then you're gone. So it's like 10 days intense trip. I always want to live for 3 months, 6 months, just to get the understanding of the place. And I start like that. Since that I have been living in Portuguese, in Georgia, in Turkey, in Armenia, in Thailand, Bali, Argentina, like a lot of countries. And that's what I'm enjoying, like staying for a long time on, like, just to get the feeling of the country, of the people, like because you can't understand what's going on in 2 weeks. You will get some kind of a superficial level.
Yeah, the first time when I started nomading, because I was like you, right, where I was like, I had like my US, 3 weeks of PTO of a year. So every single hour of my like vacation had to be international travel, but it still wasn't enough, right? Like you do a trip and it's just, you come back and you're just like, I want more. And yeah, I won't forget like when I first started doing it, doing a month in places, started doing 2 months. It's just a whole different experience, right? Like the little things, you still do all those crazy experiences, the waterfall, the monkey forest, you still have your fun. And maybe when you first start out, like you are kind of doing that every day and trying to do it all. But like nowadays I do that on the weekends. So the weekends are quite full, but then during the week, I'm just living a normal life, but in that place. So like last night we were playing the local paddle tournament right here in Bali after work, after a full days of work. And in the gym or in the morning I go to the really nice gym and have the cold plunge and everything. And then also get to experience like the full part of the culture. So it does change tremendously. And it's a whole different experience of like the short-term travel versus the long-term.
Yeah. Even you go to the market, for example, like this is the whole, like when you're traveling on a short, you're eating in restaurants, you're doing like to go on the local market to get the sense of the prices, how they bargain, like how they will sell you. Like the different countries will do it in a different way. Like in Turkey, if you want like discuss the price, you are not that great customer. So this is the really interesting stuff. In Argentina, this is the nightmare for those who do not like to socialize. They will talk to you for 10 or 15 minutes. Everyone like, how you are doing? What's this stuff? So this is the and you get not the touristic experience, but like how they are doing the things. Like, and you add it to your own way of living. You can choose like, okay, I can do it like that. I can do it like in this way and that way. And you're collecting this experience. So this is really interesting stuff for me. Like this is some kind of exploration.
For sure.
Yeah.
One thing that we take for granted and often forget about is, coming from the US, is the power of the passport. Right? Like I can go from the US and just say, I want to go to this country, and I can go there tomorrow, typically, right?
Yeah.
Without having to think about it. Maybe there's like an e-visa where I just have to do some electronic form the night before, and it's really just a way to like get me to pay $30 or something, but it's instant. It's not the same for every country.
Not the same for every country.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because like Russia, I know it's more difficult with the passport. So how does that play into where you travel and how you have to do that?
So to get the US visa, for example, like I have got the US visa like maybe 6 months ago.
Okay.
You have to prepare this amount of documents. Then like I need to go to my customers in the US, and they would like me to be in their office for some reason. I don't know why. Usually we're working remotely, but this is their like, I don't know, intention. They would like to start a new business, and they would like me to be there from the beginning till some point, so I can help them with the analytics, with all this stuff. And they invited me. So I have a letter from them. I have the income. I have the bank statements. I have all this stuff. Then you need to fill the questionnaire on the 10 pages on the website. This is really shitty. I did not know who was doing the US visa application, but that was done like maybe 20 years ago. And since I remember like the first visa from the US, maybe it was like 15 years ago. And this is the same right now. So it's not that, like I can talk about the IT for a long time, but then this is just your time. You need to collect all the documents. Then you need to go to the embassy, book the time. Then you need to explain why you are going there. And then maybe you will get the visa. But that's just the restriction that you are living. That's okay. The same with Europe. But all the other countries for us is more or less similar to you. So, for example, the only restriction is US, Canada, and Europe. Oh, yeah, and Australia also. But Australia, it's not that tough. You can show the money, and you can. They have a really good electronic visa. So, one, like for example, me or my wife ought to like spend 2 or 3 hours to fill all the documents and to prepare all the things. But you're not facing with that. But in all the countries, there are some special people who know how to fill all the stuff. And for a small amount of money, they will fill it for you. And this is the big part of one of the electronic business in Russia. They can fill for you the visa. They are doing for you the visa in Spain. So yes, it's the restriction, it's the barriers, but they are not that strict or tough or something like that. So you can overcome them. But yes, for sure, I would love to have the US passport without US taxation. So you're paying for that also. So,
Right.
for example, like the taxation in the US is a way more hard. So there are like pros and cons. This is the same. So the European passports also came with the European taxation. My brother has the German passport, and like the taxes there is about like nightmare 40%, something like that.
Yeah.
So like 40% of your life you're working for the government and giving all this amount of money to them. Yes, I'm paying less, but at the same time I have to work on the visas. So it's back and forth. It's not like it's something like really bad. You can work with it, and not too many places there that will be really hard to get.
Okay. For some reason, I thought there were more places that just said no. I know there are other passports that are, sounds like even more difficult, like the Philippines. I have some friends, or South Africa.
It's really hard. For example, like my wife get rejected for 3 times for the US visa because like it was back then that when she wasn't married on me, and the single woman, even with an income, even with anything, it's really hard to get the visa. This is the really, like, I'm not a woman, obviously, but this is the really problematic stuff. And the same will be for example, for a Filipino woman to get the visa to any country. That will be a nightmare. And we are still living in a world when like it's like a little bit unequal.
Sure.
But it is what it is. Like we can't fix that right now, but we can try to do that like in the future or something.
Yeah. One of the things we talked about the other night when we met was something I've really noticed is like, usually when you find one Russian in a place, you find a lot. Like it's not just one Russian, it's usually a pretty big community.
Yeah.
Russians, more than a lot of other nationalities I see, like they just kind of find their community in places, and they're a very tight-knit community. So here in Bali, right, like a lot of the people at the paddle that I've been playing with are Russian. We were in Thailand, and meet a lot there. Like Phuket when I was there the other time. Like,
this is the Russian enclave.
Yeah. Why is that? Is that true that there's like these tight-knit communities, and why do you think that is?
It's because we are afraid of you. Like, and I told you already about the Russians. We are really hard in the small talk, in the open, in the communication. It's, for example, we are not that smiley. In Russia, you won't smile like to the shopkeeper or to anybody else. That will be impolite. So you're just serious. And when you meet the European or US or anybody else, and they're like smiling like,
I've been impolite to you for a while.
It's like I have been living in this world for quite a long, and I'm get used to it. And I was so it's okay for me. But for the majority, we are not talking like that. Every Russian like that. We are talking about the tendency by itself. It's hard to open the community. We don't have that small talks, and when we have the cultural difference, it's a way easier for us to communicate with each other. Then we have a special codes, how we talk to each other, like what can we talk about? The same as you do. Mm-hmm. So for example, like in the US, it will be like really easy to say like, what do you do for a living? It's like to talk about what do you do for a living, politics. It's the open topics. You can talk about them freely. Mm-hmm. And this is so for example, it will be impolite to talk about, like, let's say, parents. Maybe it's not that the good topic. So I haven't like heard that somebody's like, what about your parents? Yeah. What did you? It's not like that. We have different topics, and then we have a different model of communication. That's why the Russians tend to talk to each other, not to other nations. This is the first reason. And the second one is, it's really obvious. We are not that good at languages. because for some reason the Russian education is not that good. In English, for example, or we have English schools, we have French schools, German schools, but when we learn the language for 10 years, at the end of the school, we do not know that. Like we are not using that because the language sticks to you when you use it on a daily basis. When you have an urgency or you have something to, like, you have a reason to use that. In majority do not have that. And that's why we are not that good in English. And the third reason, so we are not talking, we know the English a little bit, but we are really shy to talk incorrect. And for example, the other nations like that, you can, like for example, the US people, they are not hesitate to speak Spanish, even on any level. You know 2 words, you will speak it. It doesn't matter. That's the good approach. But the Russian will shy because like what they will think about me, like, well, that's the major, let's say, that's the most powerful reasons why we tend to each other. Because like, okay, we are shy and it's so easy to talk to somebody who is from your cultural, let's say, layer. And you know, you understand, you have the same cartoons, so you can talk, you can smile or any other topics. So, and like that's why we are like really tight. And in every country, the first that any Russian traveler or immigrant or anybody will do, they will open the Telegram and they will look for the local chat. And then in local chat, there will be a gathering, social meetings, board games, anything. And also the paddle, for example. Like every paddle event, we have the chat in Telegram, and it's in WhatsApp, but somehow it gets to the Russian Telegram. Like, hey guys, we're going to play tournament. Let's go with us. And this is like the tendency for that. We have the other level of communication. When we're overcome the first barriers, we are really comfortable and warm inside, and we have the understanding of the friendship, and it's like the friendship values over any social interaction or anything like that. We're really good at that. But before that, we are not that good. And also, when you will try to open a communication with a Russian, typical Russian, like, hey, how you are doing? Like, I'm good. And he will be really not embarrassed, but he will be frightened because why are you talking to that? Am I looking not good? What's going on? We are not used to the small communications that is, let's say, common in the Western world.
Yeah, it's like the cold front, but the warm center.
Yeah,
is kind of how I think about it. Yeah, I felt very honored because a few weeks ago I played paddle with some Russians and I got invited to the Russian paddle group chat.
Ooh.
So, and it's all in Russian. I don't know anything about it, and I got to get the Translate app out. But I felt quite honored to be invited.
But you can, if it's about the Telegram, there is a special button you can translate everything to the English.
Okay.
And that's they understand that for example, yesterday I have shown. Do you know that the Russians are not that good at the Facebook or Airbnb? And everybody, not everybody, okay, but the majority of those who owns the property here, they listen it in the Telegram groups. So, and sometimes the prices there, it's a way more affordable than on Airbnb. Yeah. And yesterday I was talking with the guy we were playing with Claudio from Argentina, and I have like just invited him to the several chats on the like rent wheelers, something like that. And the prices there is a little bit different because the Russians are trying to list it to the Russians.
Okay. So now I got to get into all the other Russian chats so I can get these good deals.
You know that there are hundreds of chats on Bali, hundreds.
Wow.
And they're all open, so you can like join to any of them.
I really want to highlight that because whenever I go somewhere that has like a WhatsApp group chat that I can find, it completely changes everything. Because if you're a solo traveler, especially, you can instantly meet people. You never have to worry. Like it changes the game, right? Where Otherwise, you kind of have to like make the move to meet people, and it can be really scary. Or when you have one of these group chats, like it's your fault if you don't meet people because there's things happening every day.
Yeah.
So I love that you guys have that. I think that's really cool. One thing. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
but that's also the boundaries. Like because we have that. Just imagine that it's convenient. You can enter any city. You can open a Telegram, and there will be like a social meeting today. Like, guys, we are making a barbecue. Everybody's welcome. Just grab the drinks, and the doors are open at 6. So when you are going there, no efforts, no nothing. Just to meet the Western people, you need to find some WhatsApp group, and there is no search there.
Yeah.
So how to search it? Then the Facebook. Oh, this is now dated. Like everybody, like this is the really hard, and it's easy. That's also one of the reasons that we have an inconvenient way to do that. And unfortunately, there are not too many, except that there is a huge site, the Nomad list.
Yep.
And they have all the communication inside the Telegram. They're also convenient in this way.
So it sounds like maybe the Telegram is one of the reasons why the Russian community is so strong together.
Yeah.
But also the reason why it's like hard for them to get out of that and maybe intermingle with other people.
Yeah.
The other thing that comes to mind with that is Russians have, I would say, more stereotypes than other people. And I feel that's only been heightened right since the war. Have you felt that? Do you feel that when you travel?
Let's specify what type of stereotypes are you thinking about?
I think when you travel, there's a certain, sometimes aversion to Russian tourists, whether it's from the locals, whether it's from other tourists, generalities, right? Of, I don't know, maybe not as open, maybe rude because of like you only see the cold front and you can never get to that warm center. There's certain things I feel like I hear from different things about Russian tourists.
Okay, like, why do stereotype appears? Right, because this is the generalizing, and this is the convenient way to think about something and to simplify the being. Like, why do you think that the Russians are rude? Because in general we are rude. That's true. Like, and what about the Russian drinking? Like, okay, we drink the same like as any nation do. And for example, the problem with me, I haven't met that behavior to my side. So I do not feel that anybody will judge me because I'm Russian or something like that, except the other Russians or Ukrainians, because we are almost the same. But the others, like, and maybe it's not the right question for me, because like nobody will use the specific stereotype in front of me. Maybe when they're not talking to me, they can say that, oh, this is a really rude person. But in my eyes, to say me like, you are rude, that's really rarely happen. One time we were sitting in a restaurant, and really expensive one. We were having an anniversary with my wife, and one lady from the Norway was trying to teach us because of these stereotypes, like, you are Russians, you shouldn't sit here, blah, 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 blah. But that was only one time in all the 7 years. And then like maybe it was like offended to her that we are young and we are eating in a really like expensive restaurant, and like in her mind, this is something that we shouldn't do, that we shouldn't have any possibility of that. But that was only one case, and that's not, I do not think that we can judge about all the people because of one thing. Other than that, I haven't met any stereotype like that will hurt me or something like that. But I do understand that they exist, and maybe they, in many ways, they're true. Like, it's okay. Like, yes, in the Western mode, like, for example, if I wasn't that open and you will say me, hi, like, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And I will say, fine. That's all. I will be rude.
Yeah.
But in my reality, why you are talking to me, I like that there is no, I don't know, no occasion. I haven't done anything to you. Like, why are you even smiling at me? This is not my cultural code. So you will be offended. I will be offended. Not because of the, like, you are bad or I'm bad or something like that, but because of the misbehavior and misunderstanding. So yes, that's true. So in many ways, like, it's okay. Like, and the many stereotypes, they're true because they for the majority, not for everybody, we need to understand. And when we understand the idea that this is the stereotype for everybody, and we can't apply this to this specific person, that stereotypes just disappears, because every time you have to create the vision of the person, you have to understand how, and it ought to be based on your own experience. So, and I think that most of the people that I have met during traveling, they are doing the way, like, in a single interaction, not just applying the stereotype of all the nations and putting it to the, like, they're thinking like about the personality that they're talking about right now. And when they do that, the old stereotype, they're useless in this way.
It's been one of my favorite things about traveling is breaking stereotypes, right? Like, my first ever solo trip was to Colombia. And from the US, you have a certain picture of what Colombia is, and that changed how I thought I was going to do it. And then when I get there, I'm like, all these are wrong. They're not at all true, right? Like, and it's the same thing with people, like you said. Sure, there's certain things that, because of the cultural difference, can appear so, but you can't judge the individual. Like when we met, for example, I see this guy with the big beard, the tattoos, says he's from Siberia. I'm like, oh, I don't know. This is going to be interesting. And then we share a coconut. We have an amazing chat. And I'm like, this guy's a teddy bear. You know, he's not the big Siberian scary bear. He's a teddy bear on the inside, you know?
Yeah.
And it really is one of my favorite parts about traveling. It's also why, like, I've gotten off the news. I've gotten off social media because all of these just play into these stereotypes. And I don't think it's good for us because, you know, if I listened to this stereotype, I probably wouldn't have shared the coconut with you. I probably would have been, this Russian, you know, I don't want to mess with this guy. But it's like, no, he's a real person. And okay, maybe there's a culture differences or whatever. Now you have less of the cold front maybe than other Russians or people from Eastern Europe that I met. But I always do think they're human beings. They have that warm center. And to me, it's always kind of fun to try to find my way there. You know,
to break the stereotype.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there is a stereotype about the French people. They do not speak English. But just take a look around. Every French here speaking a perfect language, perfect English, and they are not making that, like, so there is a stereotype. And maybe if you go to the France somewhere at the small city, they will tell you like, "Je n'ai pas parlé," something like. But in the real world, like the majority, we have the same values all over the world. Like we know what is good and what is wrong. And the stereotypes, it's just like our brain tends to be lazy. And the stereotype is the laziness of the brain, just to not to think, not to evaluate, not to understand what's going on. It's just, okay, like, I don't know. Every Russian is cold. The French speak French. The Deutsch drink beer all the time. I don't know. The US eat hamburgers only. Just that you just ruined my stereotype. I was thinking that you have like fries and hamburger all the childhood. That's all that you were eating every day, and maybe pizza on Sunday. That's how it like works. When my brain is not going to work a little bit, it will apply the easiest thing. And the easiest thing is a stereotype.
It's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. So you were here in Bali, what is it, for 6 months?
Yeah, something like that.
And then you go back to Georgia, you said, next, right?
First, we will go to Thailand for a week to visit my friend, and then we will go to Georgia.
The reason I want to bring that up really quick is
Mm-hmm.
you said something to me that I thought was really cool after nomading for a while and a little bit of like my dream. And I think it's cool. Maybe it's part of the community that you guys have,
Mm-hmm.
but like, so one of the things that I've missed, I was living in Colorado before traveling, is like backpacking, trekking.
Yeah.
And you said you got like, it was almost like a community group of equipment and you're about to do some trekking in
Yeah.
Georgia. Can you like talk a little bit about that?
We have a group of friends, and we are like I told about my grandpa. Then we apply this lifestyle to our grown-up life, adult life, and we are going to the mountains. So the best place to go to the mountains in this region, especially this is Georgia, really convenient, a lot of good food, beautiful pictures, high mountains like 5K and above, and this is you can watch, and also you have a convenient trails for kids, for example, or something like that. It's really safe. So we have the shared let's call it the community warehouse. I don't know how to say it in English, sorry. And we have all the stuff there: tents, ropes, like safe systems, like sleeping bags. And anybody of us can take it and use it, then like wash it and put it back. So it's in the apartment in the Georgia. Anybody can take it. Like not anybody. Okay, from the guy from the street, but from our, let's say, community.
Yeah.
And moreover, this is not our invention. Like there are plenty of the communities. And for example, in Georgia, there is a huge local community, and they're doing the same thing. So they have the sticks, like the tents also, and you can grab it for free. Just the only one reason you need to enter the community. It's free totally. Then you will like go to any track with them, and after that, when you have anybody who can like confirm that you're a real person, you can grab a thing and they will help you. So it's like when you have a tent, how what amount of percentage of share are you using it? Like 0.5% of the lifetime, and it's just lying in your somewhere in the garage or something. So we decided not to have that, and we decided to buy like the really good one equipment and share it with all the group of the friends that we have, and everybody can take it.
I think it's really cool. It's another community that I need to infiltrate, I think. And by the way, for the Americans listening, we're talking about the country of Georgia, not the state.
Yeah, not Atlanta.
Yeah, very, very different. Yeah, I was there for a month a couple of years ago. I loved it. Beautiful mountains, like you said. I did like paragliding in the Kazbegi Mountains in the fall. So all the colors. And then I started chatting with like the guy I was, the instructor. And because he liked me, because I was like interested in how does it work, he's like, okay, I'm going to take you for extra long so we can get higher. And so we got really high so we could like see into Russia, like the different mountain ranges, and just an epic experience. And the food, don't get me started. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk a little bit about your entrepreneur journey.
Yeah, sure.
So you teased it a little bit with what you sold that company, and that's kind of what set you up for traveling. And you said it got to a point where it was kind of overwhelming. And one of the things you said to me the other day was you had, I don't know if this is the same business, but you had a lot of employees.
Yeah, like that maybe 60 plus. I don't know, whatever, it's a lot or not.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And now you have like a data analytics kind of consulting company, and you keep it to a few employees. And one thing you were telling me the other day is you're purposefully doing that. Like you have, if you wanted, you have more work there for the taking, and you could expand, but you're kind of keeping it smaller is kind of generally what it sounded like.
Yeah, that's on purpose. So, okay, I have 2 contractors. Like I have a contract with a developer company, with a design company, and that's all. Like I'm not hiring anybody, and I do not want to create a huge agency with a tons of customers and all this stuff. That will be again my previous like experience. I will just repeat the previous error. So I can't earn all the money in the world, and that's about the life work balance, something like that.
But why? I mean, it seems from the outside, like especially in the US, I think it's to grow, to grow, to grow, and to get bigger and to make more money. Why decide to not go down that path when you seemingly have the option and to keep it intentionally like smaller?
Okay. May I do not know why I can't answer you for other people, like why they need more and more and more and more and more. I'm not familiar with that. The problem that when I have finished the first business, then I set up the clear like income figures for myself. Like what amount of money do I need? How much do I need for my retirement? How much do I need for my kids for them to have like the apartments and the education? That's on me. The other they will do it on their own. And I do not need more. that every time when I meet a possibility to make more money, I'm making more time for myself. So I'm constantly decreasing the time that I'm working. So I'm, for example, like right now I'm working 5 to 6 hours on a working day. That's all. But then I will work less and less and less and less because it's so easy the money is really, you have a number, it's easy to measure, and it's so easy to exchange your life on a game to get more and more and more and more and more numbers. But will they matter at the end of the day? That's like, I do not think so. Yeah, I can buy a yacht for myself, for example. That's out of my like possibility range. I can't buy an apartment in Manhattan. No way. Or in Florida, or like in the most expensive region. But other than that, like I'm fine with it. And like I do not have a lot of stress. So maybe this is the like some kind of. So on one hand, it can be wise. On the other hand, that's not a heroic path. So I'm not a hero. I'm just the human being. I want to have a hedonistic, the comfortable life. I want to travel. I want to explore. This is my passion, so I want to stay with it. I don't have a passion for consumption. So I like, I don't know, like I can't find inside myself the desire to buy a new car. I don't have that. Like I don't know why. Maybe I'm blessed, maybe vice versa, like I'm cursed. But I don't need a new car. I will buy the old Prius if I will need a car. So if I need one, I will buy something that is not that expensive.
Well, to me, you're more of a hero than those people. Like, I don't resonate with that either. I really resonate. Like me starting my business is really about what is the exact lifestyle that I want, right? I forewent a lot of comfort, a great salary, and a pretty good life to try to chase like ultimate freedom and probably making less money, especially at the start, at the very least.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think that's awesome. I think that you decided exactly what you want in your life, and that's what's most important, you know?
Yeah. And like, I want to make it like small comment and highlight it. Like, this is true for me at this point of life, at this, like maybe in the 10 years, I will be another person and I will have another priorities or something. But for now, maybe like, I don't know, there will be an urgency to earn like million or something like, or like some huge money for some purpose. I do not know what's behind it. Right now, I do not have it. So I'm not that constant. Maybe in the future that will, but this is who I am. And this is like, for now, I do not have any purpose in like creating this huge stress for myself, like to hire a lot of people, then to force them to do what they do not want to do. because I know better what they need to do, and to make them money-making machine than to spend on it more and more and more and spend a lot of time. And this is the really interesting stuff that I like. What's the point of having a lot of money? Like, I do not understand that. Like inside me, I do not feel like, okay, what, like to get the first class or to fly a business class on a like 2 hours flight, or what for? Like will I be more, like, will it bring more joy to my life? Like I will, but I don't know. Not right now. So like I'm quite, I do not want to say happy. Happy is like, you know, some kind of extreme
Moment.
stuff. Contempt. Yeah. Not like, I'm quite contempt, and like I do like my lifestyle. So I'm feeling good inside about that.
I love it, man. One of the things I saw about you as well when I was perusing your LinkedIn is you are also like a startup mentor.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
For 5 years, maybe. This is my social, like I'm helping startups for free. Like for the last 2 or 3 years, I'm doing it more active. For the previous, like maybe 5, not that active. So I'm helping the young companies for free to, first of all, to track their progress, and second, to guide them. Because like, first of all, I have launched my own companies, and I have launched like maybe 5 or 10 different products with the other entrepreneurs. And I have been there, and I'm really good at the data. So this is my, let's say, the contribution for society in this way.
And for somebody starting out, maybe a solopreneur like myself, for example, you're the data analytics expert. You help a lot of startups. Like, what is the one piece of data that they should be focusing on to feel like they're in a healthy business or not? Is there one thing that you think?
Unfortunately, there is no one thing, and moreover, on the different stages, you need to have the different like variables and to track them. But okay, take any variable that will represent the interest of the audience to your product. Like any of them will be useful at the beginning. And just to make it clear. You have one type of a product. So for example, the one who start in the e-commerce or any SaaS service, they ought to have, there are like different stages. First, like every company ought to have the proof of intent, then proof of the product, then proof of the revenue. So intent, you need to have the visitors, somebody who's interested in your product, and somebody who understands what it's for and what it's doing and all that. Like then proof of product by itself, it means that they will use it for free. Like they will use it to solve some problems or to solve their pain or anything like that. And the third step, they will pay for that. So every business has like these 3 steps. And on every of these steps, you have a different metrics. For example, the first one, it can be views. It can be like the amount of those who reach you and those who talk to you. And the second one, they will do it for free. And they will, for example, I don't know, like, no, I will take my case. So I'm doing for free the analytics for you. Yeah. And like the first meeting, we are doing that, and I'm like telling you what to do. And if we have the second meeting, this is the proof of the product. That means that you have the value out of it, and we have the second meeting and all the other stuff. And then, like, will you pay for it or not? That's also like, this is the 3 steps that you need to understand. But they're different for different businesses, different models, different like variables.
Sure.
Sorry, if you go, that's not a straight answer. I do not have the one for you.
No, but it's the honest one, right? Like it really does it depends, like most things in life, of where you are in the business, what type of business,
Yeah.
all of that. And you have a lot of experience of actually helping people. So you know that more than anybody, that it is not just one thing, and that's the reality. Thank you, man, so much for coming on. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours. I feel like you're like one of the most interesting people, you know. The Siberian teddy bear is what I'm going to call you.
Siberian discussion with the Siberian teddy bear. That's fine.
There we go. But I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you breaking stereotypes and just being yourself, and the wisdom and everything that you've shared. You live a really, really interesting life, and you're doing it your own way, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I will give it back to you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. That was really interesting, because when you're asking the questions, I have to think, and I have to open some new layers of myself. This is really interesting. And I think that what you are doing is really valuable, and you are trying to free the community in some way. You are trying to this is really the thing that delivers happiness, and this is the really honorable thing to do, to deliver happiness to somebody else.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. It's been an awesome journey for me. Just having these conversations, even if nobody watches this, I think they will. I think this is a really good one. But for me, it's been awesome to meet people like yourself that I'm truly inspired by, and I get to have great conversations with very interesting people. Where can people most connect with you? Where's the best place for people to find you?
LinkedIn. It's really easy. Just you can find me there. Drop any message or anything like that. This is really easy to
awesome. Wait. And do you work with just startups in Russia, people from the US? Anywhere?
Oh, no, all over the world. This is not just... okay, so I have the official position in Russian, one of the biggest Russian institute. So I'm helping those students on the last courses that they're thinking about the new projects, and I'm helping to them. But other than that, I'm helping the startups from Brazil, from Argentina, from Europe, all over the world. It's not a huge thing by itself. It's just that I'm trying to help with my expertise and deliver it for free for someone who desperately needs it.
Yeah, I love it. We'll put all of that in the show notes.
Yeah, sure.
And I've got a last question for you, which is why the dirt path? So we've laid out in this interview your story of why I think you're on the dirt path, right? And doing things differently in life, right? You come from this part of Russia where people have a lot of different stereotypes. It's harsh conditions, and eventually you left your home country, which comes with a lot of difficulties. You're traveling nomadically, has a lot of difficulties. You built multiple businesses, scaled one really big, and decided to leave that, and now you're doing one small and purposefully. You're helping people for free, you're helping different startups. You're doing things very, very differently from the norm and how I think about it. And all of the ways that, because you're doing it differently, it's quite challenging. It's not challenging, or it's not easy to help people necessarily for free. It's not easy. I'm sure it's very tempting, or from a lot of people, like we were talking about, to maybe scale the current business or to move abroad and to travel. So for you, why the dirt path?
Because it's fun. You can't get a pleasure without spending some time and some efforts. Just the more efforts you put in the at anything, at sport and anything, this is the same at the gym. You're going to the gym, and if you're doing 10%, you will not get anything out of that. You will not get the sense of content or happiness or something like that. And when you're doing something hard, that's fun. That's fun to overcome visas. That's fun to travel. Yeah, it's not easy. Sometimes it takes time. It takes it delivers you some stress. But just this is how I'm getting excited. How I'm getting fun about that.
I love it. Ivan, appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Dirt Path podcast. You can find any links to support or follow today's Trailblazer in the description below. If you got this far and really liked today's episode, it would mean a lot if you could give us a 5 stars wherever you found this podcast. Subscribe and like on YouTube. And email us. Email us at thedirtpathpodcast@gmail.com to give us feedback, to give us an update of you on your own dirt path, or to send us questions, as we might be doing some Q&A episodes in the future. All right. We'll see you next time here on the Dirt Path.
Saw the exit sign flash by, a whisper in the breeze said take a chance, don't wonder why, just follow where it leads. Oh, the dirt path, it ain't easy, no map to guide the way. Slow and hard, sometimes uneasy, you stumble through the clay. No signs to tell you where you're bound, no traffic to obey. But every step on broken ground builds something great someday.